Our next session is called Preparing Your Tech Stack for the Era of Conversational Commerce. And I'm sure as you're all experiencing, consumers today have higher expectations when it comes to how they interact with brands. They also want the shopping experience to be more convenient, more personalized. So I'm excited here today to talk about how to meet these rising demands of consumers and rising demands of customers are Elizabeth Ray, VP of Client Strategy with Attentive, and David Koss, VP of E-Commerce and Marketing with Rainbow Shops.
Awesome. So we took the lazy person's format and we're seated as opposed to Charlie who's pacing around. Kudos to him. But thanks for being here. My name is Elizabeth Ray, and I am the Vice President of Client Strategy at Attentive. We are very fortunate, we all are, to be joined by David Koss, one of our favorite clients from Rainbow. And we're going to be talking about how to use really just the organic nature of text messaging, and using conversational selling techniques to help customers in their buying journey. But before we get there, we will dive in, I promise. I do want to share a little bit about Attentive. So for the past 6 years, we have been, and we are, the leader in reinventing the way in which consumers and brands communicate. We do that with our SMS-first platform that allows brands and customers to communicate directly. At our core, our platform helps marketers build an active SMS and email subscriber base and deploy personalized text messages across the customer lifecycle. So everything from welcome to product drops to loyalty status, customer service, and two-way, of course. And we, just in the last year alone, we sent over 18 billion text messages sent and received from our customers and drove billions of dollars in e-commerce revenue. I have to stop and say that we are certainly humbled and proud of the over 5,000 leading brands that we work with. And these include CB2, the Tapestry brands who are here today, Jack in the Box, and Rainbow, of course. So with that, David, can you tell us a little bit about your role, your role at Rainbow?
Sure. So Rainbow Shops is a retailer of women's and kids' clothing, shoes, and accessories. We operate about 1,100 brick-and-mortar stores in the States, as well as our online presence. And I'm responsible for e-commerce and marketing at Rainbow.
Yeah. So, you've been with Attentive for, I think, coming on 4 years now.
Coming on 5.
5, oh my goodness. But this is not actually your first experience or foray into SMS marketing.
Yep.
So can you tell us, looking back, how your goals or strategies for the channel have changed, how they have evolved, and perhaps what's a little bit surprising these days?
I think SMS for us has clearly been a journey. And I think we've been timid kind of that whole process. I think it initially started out as just something that we sent marketing messages on. And it's now really evolved into anything we can do via email or push, we are doing via SMS. So it's a full communication channel, and one of the 3 main channels we have to talk to customers. I think what we're discovering as time goes on is what it uniquely has that those other 2 channels don't is it's two-way, it's actually conversational. And we'll show right later in the presentation where you can see how, we send a message to a customer via SMS and they actually think it's a person behind it and they respond like it's a person. So that's what I think makes this channel really unique.
Mm-hmm. And can you remind the audience how large your subscriber base is at this point?
So we've got over 2 million numbers across 3 different short codes. We have short codes for online, for brick and mortar, and for transactional messages, and we keep those separate.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I think, when it comes to how SMS is fitting into the unified strategy, as David was mentioning, we see that it's clear it's driving results. We actually recently partnered with our hosts here, so Commerce Next, on a retail strategy report, and a lot of the takeaways here align very much with a lot of David's insights and perspectives. I do want to share a few of these. So at this point in 2022, about 70% of marketers are using SMS for retention and re-engagement. And that is a pretty significant rise from the year prior, from 2021, so 10 percentage point increase. And since implementing, we're seeing really, really significant performance results. So about 63 see a very measurable impact in revenue growth from acquisition to retention and re-engagement strategies. There's one thing that I think we're going to get into a little bit more here, and it's very relevant these days, but it's becoming also a top source for first-party data collection. So that's actually what we're going to get into. So zooming into that last statistic, we certainly understand that brands have to and are rethinking personalization strategies, really in the result and coming from the changes in the digital privacy landscape. So with that, SMS really has emerged as an effective way to capture and leverage data, of course, just because of its human, it's really kind of organic and personal nature. So, David, can you share a little bit about how you used a conversational kind of tone messaging right in the welcome journey to collect some of this?
So we really sell clothing across two different dimensions, across size, so for adults in both junior and plus sizes, and then we also sell kids merchandise. So it's important, the more we know what the customer is interested in, which of those three categories, the better job we can do to deliver messaging and deliver landing pages that are optimized for that experience. We have a young 20-something customer, probably doesn't want to hear about kids' clothing, right? We've got a mom in her 30s and she does. So being able to ask up front to try to get that data directly from the user is important. And it also prevents kind of what we worry about in terms of false personalization. If you use, some technique out there other than directly getting the information from the customer, you can falsely personalize. So for us, if we have a plus size customer and we send her junior size, messaging, that's a loss. We're going to lose her, and vice versa. We send a junior customer plus size, messaging, we're going to lose her. So being able to match those messages and not having that message have to be generic is important, and we've gotten big wins through being able to gather that first-party data.
And just to kind of bring it to life, so within that initial welcome journey, you're actually asking folks, hey, what are you interested in shopping?
Right.
And then what do they do from there? Can they respond?
And this is kind of progressed over time, right?
Yep.
This was kind of our first version of this was in text to make them answer back, 1, 2, and 3 based on what those answers are. And we did kids as a follow-up. We got a decent response from that. And you'll see later on as it moved to a more graphical experience, the acceptance rate for that skyrocketed. And now we're able to, we've got, 200,000 or 300,000 people have already answered those questions. So.
Exactly. And I think, I don't have the numbers here, but I think before we did this, conversion rate was hovering under 20%. And from that first test, over 24.
When we can personalize the landing page, we get a 10x return over the generic send.
Yep. Exactly.
So it's a big difference being able to take somebody to the right part of the site rather than having to take them to a generic part of the site.
Yep. And as David mentioned, they didn't stop there, so you continue testing. I wanted to share this graphical gamification.
Yeah, it's kind of our experience with Attentive over the years is they keep constantly bringing different ways to do, whether it's the initial sign up and collection of numbers, whether it's the collection of that first party data, those methods keep evolving and changing. So they brought to us this spin to win concept. And we kind of looked at it and thought, okay, is gamification really going to have an impact, with people signing up for SMS? And it turned out to be just an enormous win. So, that ability to constantly kind of test and refine what it is we do and what resonates with users, helps us to continue to improve and make those daily gains that we get out of the program.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can kind of see, like on the middle slide, now we're asking those preference questions as part of that process. And when it went to the graphical kind of check boxes rather than the text response, I think we gathered like 10 or 20x the number of responses this way than the prior way.
And both for SMS as well as email.
Right.
Yep. Awesome.
We've been doing this long enough. I mean, we originally were, I guess we should tell you, like our audience is 90+% mobile. So we're really a mobile only brand. What's more intuitive on a phone? Is it email or SMS? We think it's SMS. And this, we've done where we've captured mobile number first and then email first. We're now thinking again about going back to mobile first, because that mobile number is just more powerful and more important even than the email address. So.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty important to underscore here. Folks generally have one number. They don't share it. You don't change often. And I think, as we all know, we're all using it. I have it here for some speaker notes. Wonderful. So actually, I want to segue a little bit more into some fun stuff. And David kindly offered to be a little bit of a guinea pig, kind of the before and after state. But often we ask folks, and we've asked David to do this too, take out your phones and see how quickly you can get a human to answer a question about your brand. If it takes 24 hours, that's actually pretty common. And I'm saying, an actual human to respond to you. So we did this with David just to see how quickly some customers or potential shoppers could get a response. And he also took a look through what we have conversations tabs. We can actually see what subscribers are responding to these personalized texts with. And we found some fun, interesting
I think this
text
is,
messages.
This is the biggest unlock. I mean, what you see is, as you look through their conversational tab, you send just a marketing message or you send a transactional message, but the customer responds to it like it's a real person sent them the message. They may ask a customer service question, where's my order? How do I do a return? They may ask for a specific product sometimes. We have people, we sometimes do cheeky messages. They'll do the emotional haha icon on an iPhone, or they'll do a love, or they'll do an exclamation point. They're actually emotionally responding to these messages. A customer tell us it was her birthday. The opportunity for us is we're not doing anything with that data right now, right? Those responses come in, and there's no real mechanism we have to respond to them. Again, with a 2 million number list, it needs to be automated. And I think you're going to talk about some of your new ways to be able to manage that for us.
I know. A nice little layup, thank you. We've also seen folks respond with GIFs, clearly engaged, interested, want to hear. And as some of these examples, they're asking, I need this short in a size large, please help me, and really looking for that human response. So this is where we kind of zoom out a little bit and look at the broader picture of our conversational commerce solutions. So we're helping brands engage with customers, not just with automated responses to keywords or common questions, so similar to that welcome journey that we first went through, but also, and we really recently launched this after about a year in beta, we've launched Attentive Concierge. So for the first time, consumers can actually speak with a live agent over text, answer common questions. These folks really are trained in your brand tone. They've gone through support documentation, FAQs, sizing, fit, materials, and are really here to represent and respond in real time to any questions that of course come up. That's not just on the servicing. There's quite a bit of opportunity, of course, for upsell opportunities. We'll get into that in just a bit. But I like to say that we know the value of store associates. This essentially brings that into the messaging inbox. And really helps customers along that journey. Let's see, so I do want to bring it to life a little bit. So these are not reactive, these are actually kind of proactive ways in which you can get response from subscribers and thinking about the different points within their journey. So for one example, you land on a product page, perhaps nothing's been added to cart within your set of logic, so 60 seconds. We can automate that first message. So, hey, it's Sarah from Rainbow. We see you checking out the shirt dress. Great taste. And then open it up to a little bit more of a generic question. Can I help you with anything? And that is where, once that customer responds, a live agent takes over. We're seeing tremendous results. So on average, it's about 2.5 responses from agents before a purchase is completed. And customers, what we've learned over the past year or so, spend on average about 50% more from these live text responses. And kind of fast forwarding a little bit, we're seeing about 30% increase in lifetime spend. So really impactful. David, I want to kind of put this back to you, not to put you on the spot, but North Star, we see site visitor, even 60 days post-purchase, we have a new line that's dropped. Can we help you? Can we get you anything else? How do you see Rainbow perhaps taking advantage of this?
I mean, clearly we need to pick up on those conversational, those daily touch points that are happening, right? That we're just leaving sit on the table. It drives me nuts every time I read them. We're playing around with abandoned checkout. If we've got somebody that's completed, a third of the checkout, right, and they stop, there's probably a question or an issue, right? So we're sending SMS on the spot, call customer service, provide a link. So I think the ability to more, conversationally interact with the customer in the moment is just opportunity that's sitting on the table for us to pick up, and those are I think the next areas for us to explore together.
Yeah. I guess it's that buyer hesitation, maybe decision paralysis. Kind of move them along.
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Well, we're obviously excited to do that with you. Lots to test for sure. So I do want to, leave all of you with a few takeaways. So we certainly understand that privacy practices in the digital landscape these days have made it harder to collect data. And we have found, and certainly our clients are really leaning into first-party data collection through SMS and really personalizing customer journeys. I'm going to mention this again. Smartphones are very great, very good for personalization. Almost everybody only has one cell phone. They typically keep that number a long time. They don't share it with others, and you're constantly using it. And then sophisticated marketers, as you will be, certainly are leveraging this data they've collected and then personalizing those experiences in the messaging inbox and then pairing it with that human element. So conversations that really match what customers expect. They expect a human to be at the other end of a text. And of course, we're seeing some brands drive really significant revenue growth with this. So I think that is all the time that we have for today. We'll be around. We also my colleagues are at booth 160, so Attentive in the summer. You can customize a tote bag. Also, definitely encourage you to text SUMMER, SUMMER, to 21718. See our tech in action. Enroll in daily product drops. We have a lot of great products from some really awesome summer brands, so Supergoop, Brewmate, and Dock & Bay, and hope to talk to you soon. Thank you.